understood that principles are actually established to make life easy. I'm telling you, principles are established to make life easy. Success is not a mystery. There are principles in place which, when discovered and applied, will lead anyone to success. And that's why the worst situation a man can be in this world is in the situation of ignorance. The man who does not know is doomed for, because in fact he might be deliberately doing things that will lead him towards failure without knowing it. I remember one time some years ago, we had a certain blender in our house, and one day I wanted to help my wife out, and I decided to help wash the blender. And after washing the blender, it stopped working. And I wondered, oh goodness, my good intentions, see what they have led me to. I just wanted to help her out, but my help turned out to be wrong. So I had to buy another blender. And when we bought another blender, for some reason I just decided to pick up the manual and read through to see what they wrote there, just for the fun of it. And then I discovered that there was a portion of the blender that must not be wet. And when I compared that portion with the same portion with our former blender that got bad, I discovered that in a bid to wash the blender, I actually poured water on that same portion that shouldn't have been wet. So with my good intentions, I actually destroyed the blender without knowing it. And the Spirit of the Lord showed me how that intentionally, or with good intentions and motives, many times we destroy our lives. We destroy our future and the things that should have led us to success because we just didn't know. Ignorance is deadly. Ignorance is bad. But thank God that you're taking this program now, because you are going to have a lot of doses of cure to whatever form of ignorance you may have along this line. Okay, so planning is what I want to talk to you about now as one of the backbones of success. One of the backbones of success is what I call planning. Planning. If you get planning out of the life of a man, you have removed success from his life. Planning is life. Planning is living. In fact, I want to find out, have you at any time had an opportunity to talk with somebody who was in prison, someone who was in jail, preferably someone who has been convicted to either life imprisonment or death by hanging or death by firing squad, but somebody who has faced trial and has been convicted a criminal? Now, if you speak with any one of them and say, hey guy, 20 years ago, was it in your plan to be where you are right now? Was it in your plan that you were going to end up in prison when you were dreaming about life 20 years ago, 30 years ago, depending on your age? Were you hoping that you were going to end up having to die in prison or having to be executed for whatever crime it is that you committed? Now, you will definitely not find one man who planned to be in prison. You will not find any one of them whose dream was to end up in prison. But why did they end up there? How did they end up finding themselves in prison even when they did not plan to be there? Now, I will answer that question in the next video. Okay? And then there was this other guy I'd like to tell you a story about. He was a footballer, a professional footballer. Now, this professional footballer once had a football contract valued at $80 million. I mean, he was signed on a football contract valued at $80 million. Now, if you spoke with, let's say, an upcoming footballer who was hoping to be signed on someday, you might hear them say something like, if I could just be signed on for $2 million, I'm made for life. If I could just be signed on for $5 million, I'm made for life. But here was this guy. He was signed on for $80 million. But the tragedy is, several years later, this same guy, this same professional footballer, was arrested for doing drugs. And when they asked him, why would you be doing drugs? You're a millionaire in dollars. Why will you be doing drugs? And then the guy said he was broke. He sounded like, what do you mean, broke? Somebody who was signed on for $80 million becoming broke. How did you get broke? What happened? But he became broke for the same reason why the guy who ended up in prison ended up in prison. Why is it that many times people have dreams, hopes, aspirations, expectations of life that never seem to come through? Why is it that somebody was one time hoping and dreaming to become a doctor, become an engineer, become a lawyer, but for some reason they just don't get there? Why? Why is it that some who even managed to get there years later cannot seem to appear like they ever got there? Why? The same reason. The same reason. They did not have a plan. They did not have a plan. It has been established that to plan to fail is already, to fail to plan rather, is already a plan for failure. In fact, I like the way Dr. Myles Munroe puts it when he says that if you do not plan, then you will fail. There are no two ways about it. If you do not plan, you will fail. But don't worry, for being on this program, you are exempted from that list. Because not only am I going to share with you the importance of planning, I'm going to take you by the hand and help you draw a plan, a solid plan that can house and hold the success that you are building for your life. Okay, so until the next video, I want you to ask yourself, what plans do I have for my life? How did I get here? Where I am today? Is it a result of my planning, or I got here by accident? I want you to examine yourself. Examine yourself. Did you get here by your planning, or did you get where you are by accident? If where you are was not where you planned to be, then pay closer attention, because I'm going to show you how you can plan your way out of that trouble. I remember a dear minister who gave a testimony of what happened when he was in the university. And being in the university, he scored a very low mark in one of his examinations. Now, I'll tell you that story in the next video. Hold that on there, all right? In the next video, I'll tell you that story. And until then, keep succeeding. Bye for now.